Perhaps I can just ask the Ethiopian guys, has it always been a tradition that the women make the coffee, never the men?
No.
Never ever?
You knew that.
I knew that. I wanted to know if it was absolutely true from the origins of it.
Yeah. I mean that, this is, the way, if there is a conflict between, for example, family, even not only family in, local area.
Yeah.
So what will happen in Ethiopia, as you can see here, there is in our logo, there is Oda tree. This Oda tree is very big. As you know, Africa is the hottest place. So those people came under that Oda tree. If there is any, conflict between the parties, then the coffee ceremony is ready. Then the parties sit under that Oda tree. If any kind of problem is there, everybody is honestly, they can solve their problem under that Oda tree. So in that time, there is what we call Sike. Sike is, to protect the right of women as well in that Oda tree. No superiority men or over the woman. So that's what is going on there.
I mean, something I guess started to recognise with my travels, and actually Christina down there I'm looking towards for further inspiration on I guess your thoughts on, I guess some people call it, I don't think women's rights was quite the right word, but I think that understanding of how different societies do have relationships between the men and women. I always find it interesting in Latin America, where there seems to be a very strong machismo culture, where you don't necessarily see the benefit, how much hard work goes in by a lot of females in terms of they do a lot of the work on farms. They do the harvesting of the cherries, maybe a lot of the processing. But then the financial benefits sometimes we see going back to the man who might then not spend it on the family. I think it's International Women's Day this week. I mean, we do a lot of. We're starting to do work with the Cafe Femenino Foundation in coffee, which is actually there to promote more female rights in Latin American coffee, because of some of the problems I guess that they've recognised. That's completely separate to I guess what we're talking about here. But I was going to actually mention it anyway, because I actually brought along a bag of some Bolivian coffee from that's actually bought through not only the federal system but also supporting Cafe Femenino as well. So I actually wanted to mention it today in light of the International Women's Day. It's coming up this week, so something to look out for as well.
Can I say, just on that, Abby explained very well, one of the reasons that the men and the women are here from around Ethiopia is because of their belief in the Gadaa system, which some of you might know about, but it's a very, very ancient system, a very, very way of living. You can look it up on the internet if you're interested. Gadaa, isn't it? It's fascinating, and it's completely different to any kind of, I suppose, societal, cultural norms that we understand. But if you read a little bit more about it, you'll understand just how, as a system, it works really well. It's a very equal system, and that's one of the reasons why the Ethiopian government, they were not happy for that system to be in existence anymore, and that's the reasons why these men and women were persecuted and came here. But just to really emphasise, my knowledge and understanding is very, very limited, but if you're interested in finding out more about it, it will tell you what Oromo really does stand for. And just in terms from the women's role, we've been doing a lot of work in the role that women do have in Ethiopia in particular, and in Kenya. And it's fascinating the way that we sort of come to our own perspectives on what women should be doing. One of the things that we did do with the Oromos living in Greater Manchester is we had a community skills audit, because one of the problems that they encountered was you come here as individuals who've never perhaps known each other at all when you lived in the same country. But when you get here, you're treated as a community and you have to become a new community. And then when you go down to the job centre, you're treated as an individual. And society in Ethiopia, and particularly and the Gadaa system, doesn't work like that. So what we did, we took the group of Oromos that we knew in Greater Manchester as a collective to see what did they have as a collective, what skills could they offer the Oromo coffee company. So it was a very unusual piece of work, and we got a researcher to do it professionally for us. And it was fascinating because one of the problems is when you go down the job centre, they'll ask you all the questions like, have you got experience of marketing? Have you got experience of sales? Well, the backgrounds that people came from, they wouldn't necessarily think that they've got that experience. So we sat and interviewed every member of the community, and in particular the women. It was fascinating, the kind of jobs that they had within their own community, as peacekeeper, as storyteller. All of these things were completely undervalued by our society, and when they went to the job centre they were asked the wrong questions. So it was a good process to help them see what skills they had to offer. The language is always a difficult one that we judge people by, but we managed to get underneath that. So you've got quite a rich lot of information which members of your communities did what back at home in Ethiopia. So we would love to do that, further with the community, with another community, with refugee communities, because it's just, again, we try and pigeonhole everybody into the way that our society operates. Are the women oppressed? They're sitting there making the coffee, they must be. Well, speak to the women, try and get underneath that, speak to the men, try and get underneath that, and then find out what skills that the women have. And in our own society, a lot of women are quite happy probably creating the piece by doing the coffee and let the men do all the talking. But it was a good piece of work. It was interesting.
While we're talking about women and different cultures, and I just talked about children and how children are involved in the coffee ceremony or not.
Yeah, children is mostly evening time. This Oromo coffee ceremony is ready. Then evening time, the children mix it with their family. Then the family telling to their children what is good behavior, what is good history background of the community. So evening time is good time for children to learn from their family, and as well as in this auditory, under this auditory during the daytime, those people who retired from jobs, the children is mixed with those older people, sit under this auditory, then the coffee ceremony is ready, then those older people is just teaching those children good behavior, what is good, what is wrong, and so on. So that is, everybody is, integrated with understanding.
In France and Italy, they feed wine to children at a very young age. What age do you start giving coffee to children?
You see, according to Gadaa system, there is 8 years differences. Just like, for example, if you take American political system, 8 years, the maximum of presidents. So from 1 to 8 years, the children is simply family. They will not involve anywhere. From 8 to 16. That is the second Gadaa system, because one government is removed by that democracy, through peacefully under this auditory. There is no wire, there is no conflict each other. Simply make coffee, and then my time is already lost. So take to the other side. So from 8 to 16, the children is mixing to learn what is happened, what is the Gadaa system, what is their background, the history, and so on. Then from 16 to 24, at that time they started to their educations to school. At that time they started to drink coffee as well and involved with their community.
So not before 16?
No. Maybe what they're doing as a children, they can just helping their family to grinding the coffee and so on, with roasting the coffee, and the children can just take and fun. So they started as grinding coffee in a traditional way of grinding.